I'm going to try this one more time. Sometimes when I'm trying to record something and it's just not going well, I have to discern if it's because the Lord doesn't want me to put it out or if it's because the enemy's messing with everything. So I'm going to try one more time. So I wanted to share this dream because I feel like it relates to what I shared in the last video, just about God's hand twisting the surface of things to reveal the foundation. And specifically, this is to do with one of the ways the twisting will happen, the ways that things will get all shaken up. And so this was the dream. So in this dream, I was about 10 or 11, and I knew that I was in the possession of a cult. It was a bunch of adults. They'd come and go, but mostly I was alone, left alone in a room that was up in an apartment building that felt like it had been abandoned. There wasn't really anything else going on in the building. It was up in one of the upper floors, and all my job was to fill a large chest freezer with little packets that I knew contained bait. That's all I knew. There was this very uneasy feeling in me as I would be handed these mysterious little tin, packages, like foil packages, and I would fill the freezer. I remember like wondering what the bait was for. Like, what is it that would be taking this bait? And I just knew that my job was to get the freezer all the way up to the top, at which point I knew that whatever was coming to take the bait would arrive, and they were not going to be good. They were going to be very dangerous. And the sense that I had was that this cult worshipped these invaders that were set to come. I don't know if there was a sense of them being, aliens or demons. I just knew that it was an entity or a species of entity that this cult revered and had been worshiping for a while. And they were hoping that this offering would appease these beings, because they were very powerful and clearly violent. And this cult was hoping that when they would arrive, they would find favor when they found that this offering was laid out for them. I also knew, and they didn't think I knew, that I was the cherry on top, that I was going to be the final part of the offering. Kind of like the freezer was an altar, they were going to place me on the top of this freezer as the final blood offering for these beings, which really gave me the sense this was a demonic thing that was happening. And so I would track the level of the freezer, and the dream got to the point where the freezer was full. I put in the last packet, and the contents of the freezer got level all the way up to the top, and the lid was closed, and I knew that meant that these beings were going to arrive. And suddenly, from the ground floor of the apartment, I could feel the shaking start. And I knew that they were coming up to the top of the building, like they were a swarm. It was very interesting. It didn't feel like beings that had arms and legs and a body. They felt microbial, or like insects, or like a virus. They were just millions and millions and millions, like legion, and impossible to stop. And the freezer itself started to shake and vibrate as these entities were consuming the bait. And so I looked around, and I saw that there was a laundry chute or a garbage chute, and because I was little, I could fit. And so I jumped down the chute, and I ended up like swooping out onto the street. And in the dream, I became me. I became me as I am now. And I was fleeing with my littlest daughter. And I know she kind of represented the innocents that are being laid on altars to evil these days. And I knew that I was saved, that I was going to escape this. But I knew that even as I was fleeing, these beings did not accept the offering of this cult, and the cult was being destroyed and consumed in spite of their best hopes. So it had been truly futile to think that these beings would somehow be benevolent enough to spare them and whatnot. So Yeah, it was not a fun dream. I woke up very, very uneasy, but I was very aware that the Lord was communicating there's always a way of escape for my people. And I just, it made me want to pray for the people who are going to be deceived into worshiping these entities, false gods, and hoping that they will be able to appease them and that these gods will somehow spare them. They're not going to. They're going to be ruthless, merciless. The same night I had this dream, my father dreamed of an invasion of black ants in his house, and he said they were swarming everything and that they were too numerous to really deal with. Like he was trying to deal with them, apparently, like with a rolling pin. He was trying to bash them, and there were too many. They took over everything, and that felt very militaristic, like an invading army. Like, so the first dream felt spiritual, and the second one felt like human armies invading. So I just wanted to share that. I know, again, it's like two unpleasant things in a row, but remember, the Lord provides a way of escape. So there's nothing to fear, but we can't be naive about what's coming, the hard things.